Previously on Dive Log.
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
My
Luke.
name is Luke.
Welcome to the podcast.
It's a
Welcome
pleasure.
to the podcast,
It's a pleasure.
Luke.
It's a pleasure, people. Scuba diving, in its essence, is something that I feel like every human on this earth should at least experience once, man.
Most diver thinks that they require a guide to do their fun dives.
Right.
Certain part of the world, the dive master do not go diving with you. They might go onto the boat with you. They might set up the thing. They might plan the dive for you. They might organize the logistic and everything.
At the end of this certification, are you confident enough? Where does the confidence comes from?
Yeah.
Ability of swimming.
Yeah.
No water phobia, confidence in water, familiarization of your equipment and the environment.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Dive Log podcast. I would like to take this opportunity to shout out to all the people that I met at the Malaysian International Dive Expo last week. Thank you so much for the positive feedback and comment. We hear you, and we will do our best to make better content for you guys in the near future. We appreciate your continuous support and also input. Now, back to our insightful conversation with Luke about his journey on becoming a certified scuba diver. Dicky, as a course director, would you mind explaining to us when you're teaching open water, right? From start to finish, can you explain like the skills that you I know it's a long list, right? Maybe just a summarized skill, like what do you do on the first, second, third, fourth day, coming into how the structure is going to be like, right? Luke did mention the first thing you need to do is to distribute the equipments to the students. And then to introduce them with the equipments and how to use them. That is the first step. And then, of course, proceeding after that, you're going to don the BCDs, the regulators and everything. And then you get into the pool. What are the skills in confined water and what are the skills that you teach in open water?
Okay. So basically, the skills in confined water are skills where you will learn and being demoed or being performed by the instructor beforehand. So he or she is going to perform the skill for you to see, for you to watch, or for you to learn. And then you will use this time in confined water to practice it. In open water training session, that is where you're going to be using the skills that you learn in confined water and to implement it in the dive. So the skills in confined water training will be from, getting your equipment, knowing your equipment, the different types of equipment, tanks and so on and so forth, how to care for it, how to assemble the equipment, and then you put it on, as you said, donning on and off and all that kind of stuff. Deep water entry, how do you get into the water? So there's a couple of techniques there, depending on whether you are getting into the water from the beach where you just walk into it, or from the pier where you maybe do a giant strike, maybe from a small boat where you will do back roll entry, or climbing down the ladder and that kind of stuff. So you'll also start to play with your buoyancy. You get to learn the effects of buoyancy, so how to inflate and deflate BCD, achieving positive buoyancy, neutral buoyancy, and maybe negative buoyancy. From there on, then you will start to get into the water, learn. That's where you have your first experience breathing with the regulator. On land, we normally breathe through our nose, but then underwater, we need to switch a little bit because regulator is a source where you will be breathing from, and this is in your mouth. So sometimes some people will need,
Bit of an adjustment.
Yeah. So you need to give them time to be able to breathe from their mouth, right? Using a mask, how to, clear the mask if the mask is flooded, and retrieval of your regulator, although the regulator is there attached to your equipment, but sometimes it can be, thrown out of your mouth, and then how do you retrieve them? Basically, that's two techniques to overcome this situation. And you will then go into learning how to swim underwater, how to, establish neutral buoyancy, and then how to maintain your dive profile so that you are not having a sawtooth profile, you're going up and down and all that kind of stuff. So learning how to achieve neutral buoyancy is there. So there's a few skills where you will do that as well. Pin pivot, hovering and all that. When we get into the water, out of the water, we want to be able to signal to our body. So there's this thing where we call 5-point descent, 5-point ascent, and all that kind of stuff. controlling your descent, equalization, so that you don't hurt your air spaces, right? In this regard, will be your ears, and also to ensure that you take care of the delicate aquatic life, so you don't just descend and bump into the bottom. Well, some of the skills will require you to just be able to stay off the bottom, right? Monitoring your gauges, how much air you have left with you, and then dive planning, how long can you stay down there, what is no decompression limit, what to do if you reach NDL, a lot more about dive planning and so on, right? Emergency procedures like missing buddy, out of gas situation, out of gas with a buddy near you, or out of gas without a buddy near you. There's a lot of skills, right?
And factors.
And all of these skills is going to be brought into the open water session, where you will almost like a scenario, right? So you have this dive that you need to do, and we will, test you with the skills. We want you to be able to perform it on the fly, kind of thing. We'll also add in stuff like inflating SMBs, navigation, towing, and all that, how to rescue people. Very, very little stuff about rescuing people, kind of thing. There's actually a lot more, but if I were to explain it all in sequence, that will maybe take about an hour. So this is mainly part of what we will be doing when we go out there doing our courses.
What are some of the struggles and mistakes that you see from students doing their open water course?
Obviously, it is their first time doing it, right? So as an instructor, I can't expect someone to perform it well with just one go, A lot of the candidate requires a lot of trials. So they need to repeat themselves a lot of times. Maybe twice, maybe 3 times, maybe 5 times. Of all the skills, the common skill that I see that divers struggles would be with mask remove replace, especially when you are breathing with no mask, right? So you remove your mask and you breathe without a mask on. A weak swimmer, I will call them weak swimmer, right? They will really struggle with this. And you'll see them popping up. Obviously, this is confined water training. So when you just stand up, you're out of the surf. But then again, since you asked, so there's a lot of candidates that struggles with this particular. For those who are able to swim and maybe have a little bit more water confidence, their struggle, I would say, mostly will be achieving neutral buoyancy. Eventually, they will get it, but definitely after a couple of trials, maybe 3, 4, 5 times of doing it, to be able to hover for 60 minutes at one level. So yeah, it needs time. Struggle in a sense that they are unable to achieve that performance requirements. Always having their foot or fin on the floor. Maybe their weight distribution is not right, and then they're just lopsided, and then now they're upside down, that kind of stuff, and then leaning on their back and the tank is on the floor, or they come up to the surface. These are common problems. Nevertheless, those are not serious problems. Those are just them needing to get familiarized with the equipment and knowing the concept. So understanding the concept of how to achieve neutral buoyancy, eventually they will get there. Yes, we never bring them from one session to the other before completing and mastering whatever skill that is need to be done in that particular sector. So we can't progress if they don't meet the minimum requirement, right? Compass navigation. There are a lot of divers that they've never done navigation. It's something very new. So they have never done navigation on land. Now they need to navigate out there in ocean, on the surface, underwater. So it can be a little bit, difficult for them.
Luke, are there any skills that you remember vividly?
Struggled with?
Struggle with or have fun with?
Well, I think I had fun at first. I thought I was just some sort of diving wizard. I just thought it was in my genes. I thought
Water baby lah.
I thought my cousin was Aquaman. Because as soon as I got out, because so when it came to like fin pivots and neutral buoyancy, achieving neutral buoyancy, when I was doing the fin pivot, I did it perfectly. I did great. So funny story, my instructor was tending to my 2 other course mates at the mooring line, and I went just a bit past the mooring line, and I was just sitting up doing the Buddha pose in mid water, trying to show off. But then I realized after doing a couple more dives, my buoyancy is terrible. I'm not some sort of I'm not some sort of water baby. Apparently, I'm not some sort of wizard that I thought I was, because I really thought that I was like, dude, I'm a natural. You know what I mean? I'm floating in I'm not on the surface. I'm not at the bottom either. I'm right here. You know, and I'm posing. So I thought I was crazy. But then after a while, I realized, like when we went on like a couple of fun dives, I realized like, dude, I need my buoyancy to get better. Because like halfway through, I realized as we got shallower and shallower, and I wasn't like emptying my BCD as we were going shallower. So I realized as soon as we hit like 7 meters, I was shooting up. And that was terrifying when I went on my night dive, actually. It terrified me because I shot straight up at like 5 meters, and I was just constantly ascending, and everybody else was going that way, and I was like, oh no. But I managed to get myself out of that trouble and out of that situation. Just emptied out my BCD, dove back down, and acted like nothing happened. Yeah.
Dicky, going into an open water course, as an instructor, what do you expect from the candidates, your students?
Nothing really, except when you come for the course, come with open heart. Don't pressure yourself. Don't pressure us as the instructor as well. I have fun. Just listen to the instructors and let them, because the instructors are there to guide you, to teach you, to make you a competent diver, right? So they're responsible towards you. If you don't if you don't give that to them, right, they are not able to perform their duties. You are expecting that, hey, I pay you money, I'm just going to come here for a holiday, and after 4 days, I want to be certified. It does not work that way. So you need to work with your instructor, I would say. If you're asking me about expectation, that would be.
And what is your expectation of your instructors going into the course?
Well, I feel like I just expect them to be able to give me a sense of security, especially like going into the water for the first time, going underwater for the first time. If they cannot provide me this sense of security, then therefore I feel like, no, why would I take this course anyways,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know you don't know me. All of a sudden I'm going underwater with you, I'm trusting my life to you. So if you don't give me that sense of security, why should I trust you? You know what I mean? But I'm glad enough that the instructor that I had given me the sense of security way before we even went into the water.
Tengoklah siapa ajar dia.
Alah. Damn, that's
angkat bakul
crazy.
sendiri.
Wait, that's crazy. Wow. Did you actually?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So your instructor
Yes.
was mentored by Dicky.
Wow. How long have you been doing this, man? Jeez. Because I know, because Ko showed me his certifications, right? I'm like, bro, I'm still scrolling, right? I'm like, how long have you been there? He's like, he just does that. He's he didn't even want to mention it. So now, if he has that many certifications and he's been doing it for as long as he's been doing it, how long have you been doing this, man? Jeez.
A while. I'm coming to my retirement, already.
Oh no! Wait, retirement of of diving in general, or just working in diving?
I think it's time that
Okay, while
me and Adam, we go and have more fun dive and explore more caves. Adam, huh?
Or go on a little honeymoon after retirement. No, but while we're
Sounds good to me.
while we're here, I kind of wanted to ask you, especially. I feel like you're the most qualified for me to ask this question. You're a CD, right? With your years of experience in diving, right? See, in my head, as a very young adult, I'm 18, I just got into this world. If nothing else works out in my life, if everything goes south, right? My plan is just to invest all my capital into becoming an instructor and just having that as my career. What would you have to say to me or advise me about that? Like just having being an instructor as a career and living on these islands, and just what do you have to say?
What I'm going to say is going to offend certain instructors, maybe. Right? Some of the things that I will be saying might appeal to instructors or to yourself, maybe. But we need to also be very practical or truthful, right? If you put effort in any of the things that you want to do, you definitely excel in it, right? Whether or not you will love the career,
Mm.
there's this proverb that says, if you do, what was it, Adam? If you do something that you love, you never work
A day.
a day in your life, right? Something like that. If you love to eat,
Mm.
or if you love to cook,
Mm.
and then that's career that you choose, it's not work for you, and you definitely excel. Same goes in diving, right? But coming back to what you're saying, if nothing else works, is it good to consider diving as a career? I have been teaching for the longest time, and it started off as a hobby. I have the passion and patience, and I love teaching, I love diving, so it stayed on with me. A lot of people don't know that the main thing that I do is something else, and I can't leave if I don't
If you didn't
do
want to do
teaching.
that.
It's the same as well in diving. I can just live my business. I can just live whatever that I am, my career is,
Mm.
and go diving. And
Mm.
I know I'm going to be happy. And I know I can put food on the table. And I know I can, commit to so many commitments. It's different with certain jobs where if you lose that job, if you don't go to the office and you get fired, you are not able to go back to the job. But in diving, if I may say, I don't go diving if I don't want to teach for the next month, and suddenly they say, money, I'm gonna find some money. The next day, I just go on to the island and say, okay, give me a student or two, or you have everything sorted. You can eat already,
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say that if you really love diving, if you have patience and passion, it's something that you should consider. Because being out there on the ocean, paradise, you won't get that in the office.
Thank you so much for clearing that up for me, because I feel like it's been sitting in the back of my head, because I'm at the point in time of my life where I wouldn't say I'm heavily considering, careers going deep into one straight away, but I'm definitely already trying to figure out what it is that I want to do, right? And I figured out that what I want to study was something that had to do with like geoscience, like biological oceanography. And I feel like if I were to not get the job that I wanted, I wouldn't say that scuba diving is kind of like a hammer, kind of like a something for me to fall on. In all honesty, that's what I want to do, man. Being in the ocean, it's amazing. And I feel like having that responsibility and being able to teach somebody is a whole new level of appreciation that comes with this ocean. Because now I'm enabling these people to go on about their journey, knowing that I had given them something, you know what I mean, to go about their life with. So I feel like that's something that I definitely want to feel. I'm sure that diving is also, it's still a career, I can't just say that I'm diving in the ocean, but then once you start diving 3 times a day, 6 days a week, you come to realize that, okay, this is a job. It's still a job.
Well, you can manage that. You can always make sure that you don't get burnt out.
Yeah.
And that's the flexibility in this career as well.
Yeah.
Right? If you say, hey, I want to quit here now, and maybe I come back in a month or so,
And
it's
it works.
fine.
And it
It's-
works.
yeah,
It
you
works.
can.
Yeah.
The only thing is that you have to think further ahead as well. It's very taxing, as you say, right? It's very taxing going to the water 3 times a day and doing it for 6 days. What if you do it for a year, 2 years, 3 years? Okay. At some point, your body just cannot take it anymore. Diving industry is wide, right? Well, you can be a dive master, you can be an instructor, you can be equipment retailer, you can be a dive center owner, dive resort owner, and that kind of stuff. So you need to plan yourself so that in that industry, right? So if you only think that I'm going to be teaching until I die, that is something else, right? So you're not being truthful to yourself. You're not being practical, because we age. Going to the water, we need to be fit because our safety is our responsibility. Our customers, our student safety is also our responsibility. So you need to be able to ensure that.
Right.
Then if you can't, then that's the time where you need and find something. So yeah.
So you're saying that I feel like people would hit plateaus more often in diving than in other careers.
Well, it depends. I mean, look at Ben for that, man. He still dives. He still deep dive, technical diving, and he's but he's of age.
He's of age. Yeah.
Well, we call him Ato already, right? So, but
Grandpapa.
so there are divers who still dive at the age of 80. Tom Mount, for that matter, like INTD.
So all these.
So you need to be responsible to
Right.
You think you want to carry on with this career throughout your life, then there are things that you need to do in order to get that.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm coming from a background of like a lot of recreational sports in my life already, like skateboarding.
Mm.
I've been skating for the past 12 years of my life.
Okay.
You probably couldn't step foot on one.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But I can't reach the depths that you have reached. You know what I mean? So it's obviously I plan to skate until the day I drop dead. And to do that, I would need to stay fit. Because skateboarding is very demanding physically.
Tony Hawk right here.
Exactly. I am. It's very demanding. It's very physically demanding. And I assume that it would kind of be more or less the same case with diving. So either way, just stay healthy, dude. Take care of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to your question. So I would definitely, encourage people to consider
Yeah, as
diving
a career.
as a career. Yeah.
Where did you get the inspiration of becoming an instructor? Is it because after taking your open water course that you have decided you are motivated, you're inspired to become an instructor?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just during my course. It was also like after my course. And, throughout the whole month, living with these instructors and dive masters and all these people who have a sense of responsibility and a job to do for the dive center, right? I felt like, whoa, this is very cool. You go into the water and your job scope's so cool. You get to show people all these cool things every day. I considered it as a career because like you said, passion and I would need passion and patience. And passion and patience is what I have. So I figured I wouldn't mind having this as like a full-blown career, as it's something that I really genuinely enjoy doing. It also guides me to a path of just, being very secure with myself and just being very calm. I think diving subconsciously teaches somebody to be very zen. That's why a lot of people kind of reach a state of zen underwater. And I feel like that feeling, that zen feeling underwater, you can't get that anywhere else, except for under the water. And we're covered by it, we're covered by the water. And diving isn't just as big as Tioman, you know what I mean? So even in Malaysia, there's all these islands, and in Thailand, right up north, there's all these islands, and throughout the whole world, there's all these islands and all these dive sites. And I figured if I were to become an instructor, like you said, it's a very flexible career, right? If I decided to put my capital into diving somewhere in the world where I could feed myself and provide for myself and keep myself healthy and fit and still do something that I love, dude, by all means, that sounds like the life. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And back to the open water course, right? What have you gained personally? And of course, physically, you have gained the knowledge and the ability to dive. Apart from that, maybe your appreciation to island life, your appreciation toward the ocean.
Well, I think for me, diving was an introduction to obviously the ocean and the marine life and all these things. When I went down there for the first time, it was very surreal because one part of my brain is telling me that I should be panicked because I am in an environment that I have never been in before and this is completely alien to me. But on this other side of my mind is going, wow, this is something I can never achieve on land where I usually stay. So when I'm under the water, dude, the ocean, what I appreciate about it is honestly how quiet it is. I really appreciate that. You know what I mean? When I go underwater and I close my eyes and I just listen, right? You see so many things through sound. And it also, I feel like it helps you kind of, for me personally, it helped me regulate my state of mind. I was always in this kind of like, when I was diving like every week or every day, I had this state of mind where I was like, hey, I'm going to go diving later. The ocean's calm, the water's calm, the sun is shining right down on us, and it's something to look forward to. And being underwater is something that you cannot compare to anything else. Reaching that state of mind, reaching that state of zen underwater is, I feel like people chase their whole lives to reach on land, but they just don't realize that it's right underwater.
Do you feel like the world is more beautiful now that you have seen the underwater? Like 70% of our planet is covered
It's water.
by the ocean.
That's correct. I've always known that this world was beautiful because I've always been intrigued and I've always studied about it since I was a child. When I finally got to see it in the flesh, in my eyes, in front of me, and actually experience the sounds and the life and be around them, and it's something so surreal that I can't even put into words. It's so much so that I feel like dude, I could live there, man, underwater. If I had the breathing capacity to live underwater, I would. It's so quiet, it's so calm. At least around the coral reefs. I don't know about like deep diving and all that because I haven't been deep diving. But for as far as I know, it's a state of zen that I want to feel for the rest of my life. It helps me become a much more calm and regulated person.
Wait till you do cave diving.
Dude, jangan. No, because you know what? It's crazy because I have been looking into like a bit, speaking about like specs, right? So I went into like reading about, wreck diving and all this. And wreck diving looks cool and all, right?
Yeah.
Until you get stuck in the wreck. And cave diving sounds cool and all that, right? Until you can't find line, right? And it's so crazy because like I look into all these different specs, right? And it's like, dude, this is actually really scary, man. It's actually really
man, what made you think that if you have line of sight, you can look up to the surface, it's not scary?
If
you are 30 meter down at the bottom and you look up, and then it's the same feeling as if you were in a wreck or in a cave.
Because if you look up in a cave, you don't surface, no?
But then again, it's the same thing, right? No?
Yeah, I guess it is, but I feel like, especially me, I have kind of like an experience being kind of sort of claustrophobic.
Okay.
So being in an enclosed space under the water where I'm breathing through tanks and I have, plus you go in there with side mounts, right? You have all these extra tanks and all this extra weight, and there's so much to think about, man. I feel like it would, if I don't ease myself into it, I would just get so overwhelmed, man. Because cave diving is something that's definitely on my bucket list. If not now, then later, that I will definitely try cave diving sometime in my life and maybe even get certified in it.
It's a long way to go, but
Yeah, very long way, dude. Cave diving is very hard, dude.
But yeah.
How do you get into I'm not sure if you are a tech diver.
I am, man.
Okay, so you are tech.
Dicky is everything.
Okay, Dicky transcends all the certifications. I see. No, because when I learned about tech diving, I was like, dude, it's such a, like, the open water course is really just the tip of the iceberg. And getting to know all these different specs and all these different things, it can get quite overwhelming to somebody. But it's very important for a new diver to understand that their way in diving, you know what I mean? Okay, you take it slow, you take it open water, then you take it advanced, rescue, then you become a dive man. Then you go do your instructor with Dicky, and then he'll brag about it 10 years later. Yeah.
Luke,
Yeah.
what advice do you have to those who want to become a certified diver or when they are taking their open water course?
Okay. My personal advice is go in there with the calmest state of mind you can have. Understanding that the reef that you're about to go in will not contain all these flesh-eating sharks that you imagine of. And for a matter of fact,
That's good advice.
sharks
Very good
don't
advice.
eat flesh. They don't, you are not food. Please, you are not food. We are not food. Can't remember who told me this, but an instructor once told me. No, it was Sophia from BNJ. She told me, if you slit your wrists and went into the ocean, no shark will come. But if you cut open a fish and go into the ocean, 50 sharks will come. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? We're not food, dude. And to be fair, sharks are kind of like something that I'm geeking out about currently. Yeah, I've been reading a lot about sharks and stuff. I've been geeking out. Like, I'm really trying to see like a thrasher shark. But my advice would just be stay calm. Make sure you breathe and never stop breathing. It's very important to stay calm because if you go in there already having all these like outer problems that you're dealing with and you go in with all this weight on your shoulders, right? It could lead to you having a very bad experience underwater. And you don't want that for your first time because then you will not be interested in it anymore because you'll be like, dude, I almost died underwater. My first time I was underwater. Why would I try it again, right? First impressions to the water is very important. And make sure you respect the corals, respect the reef, respect the life, respect the ocean, your instructor and your course mates. And I'm sure everything will be smooth sailing.
Wise word from a wise man.
Choosing the right instructor is very important.
Oh yeah. Choosing the right instructor is very important. But however, a lot of the times when you go to, especially the really famous dive shops during like peak season, right? You don't really get to choose your instructor. Everybody's already booked out. So either wait, go there prior to your course and get to know these instructors, or call in prior to your course and get to know these instructors. It's very important to get to know them. Like, I'm glad I got the instructor I got, man.
Wanting to be an instructor, aside from that, what is next for Luke? What courses are you planning to take next? And what is your end goal?
Okay. I feel like next up for me would definitely obviously be my advanced first. So I'm going to do my advanced, then my rescue, which I hope to do by this year. I'm not going to rush my dive master. I'm really not. Because I've seen this whole zero to hero thing. And for the people who can do it, I applaud you. But for me, it would be much more worth it for me to do a lot of fun diving between this.
Yes, gain more experience.
Gain more experience.
Don't jump from one course to the other straight away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gain more experience, breathe, take in the scene, take in diving, understand what I'm going into, and then take in my dive. Because again, it's a lot of capital to be investing. Yeah. It's also a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of physical. And if you go in there like a blind duck and you're going to really eat shit, it's terrible. Like, you're going to really have a terrible time doing your dive master. If you're already comfortable and you've done a lot of fun diving between your certifications, I'm sure you're going to go in, do your dive masters just fine. But yeah, I'm not going to rush my dive master. Hopefully, maybe in the next year or next couple of years, after I've done lots of fun diving, maybe after 200, 150 dives, 200 dives. Yeah, in hopes to become an instructor. I don't know, maybe before my mid-20s end. Well, I'm not even in my yet, so I don't know. But hope to become an instructor one day. Hope to make it a career if I do get to. Inshallah, I really would love to become an instructor and have it as a career. But I also want to take some specs. I want to take my nitrox course. I want to take my rec course. And eventually end up do cave diving. So I really want to go into caves, man. But that's the thing. I'm obviously not ready yet. So take my time. Some diving, I feel like it's again like it's a bit controversial because there's a lot of people who go out there to do their zero to heroes at a certain dive shop. And to you, I've for whatever reason that you do want to do that, I applaud you. It's great, very impressive. For the people who are just considering it, I kind of advise for you to really look at it and think about it long term. You have to understand you're going from not knowing nothing and never been diving to being able to guide people. And that's a very big jump. The underwater is not somewhere humans are meant to be. We have bent and learned this skill and this sport for one to teach another person. You would assume that they would have to been doing it for a very long time. So when you hear that your dive master, your guide has only been diving for 3 months, what is he gonna? What if he starts going ascending and stuff? You know what I mean? We need a solid foundation going into your dive master and your instructors. And a solid foundation would be a solid record and logbook of dives. And on those dives, you practice on your skills, your buoyancy, and all these things to a point where when you go to your dive masters, everything's already kind of subconscious. All you have to learn is how to teach other people. But everything else that are your skills, they're sharpened and they are pristine and they're good. And that's what you want, going into your dive master.
Vicky, you have any questions for Luke?
Yeah, I'm good.
Do you still want to entice him into going cave diving? He's really said it. You know what, Luke? Every single guest that comes to our podcast, for some reason, right, Dicky would try to steer them into become a cave diver.
You don't gotta steer me nowhere, man. I'm already on the same route. Like, I really want to go cave diving, but I feel like for other people, it's not really appealing because it's fucking terrifying, dude. It's terrifying. Actually, how do you even get into cave diving? How does one go into cave diving?
We have a podcast.
I think we have two podcasts.
Okay, I should check it out, apparently. Okay.
To summarize it for you, I actually recently took one of my friends, actually your instructor, to go cave diving. So he's a certified cave diver now.
Was he just certified?
Yeah, last year.
Oh wow!
And the end of last year, we went together.
Damn, I did not see that in his book, in his app. Congratulations, Ko.
To a lot of people, they think that it's a very long journey and it's quite hard to achieve. But now that me and Dicky, we have done it, I think it's quite attainable to a lot of people. What do you think, Dicky?
Wow.
It also depends on the person.
Yes. If you're sharp, if you are familiar underwater, if you're a competent diver, yes. But if you're struggling to be familiarized with the underwater world, to be familiarized with your own equipment, and it's going to be a bit of struggle. as you said, is attainable. The minimum requirement is just minimum requirement.
Advanced open water.
There you go.
Huh?
So with only so much
Yeah.
diving and so on, but
Really?
Depending on the agencies, that is the bare minimum.
Wow. Or
But some
bare
instructors
minimum
have
lah.
Some instructors have their own
Yeah,
requirements.
They're like, I'm not
so it
going to teach you if
depends.
you're not advanced. Yeah.
But the bare minimum is
Advanced.
you can start already when
What
you are
the
in advanced
heck?
open
well,
water.
then again, attitude is also very important,
Right.
right? So if you're not quick up there as well, then you'll be, putting yourself
Very dangerous.
putting yourself in a place where you should not be in the first place. So,
Correct.
yeah,
Especially if you're not equipped. Or
you need to be
with the
ready.
knowledge.
You need to be ready.
To finish off this episode, I have one last question
Yeah.
for Luke. What is your message to the audience out there?
Very general question since we've been talking about diving a lot, but I'll just, stray away from the topic a little bit. I just want to tell everybody that be kind, man. And just be kind, dude. I think there's so much hatred in this world, and be kind, man. Especially with diving, and that's what it teaches you. You live in such a small community, and you know everybody, and everybody's so nice and so kind to you. And the ocean is kind to you, and its animals are kind to you. So be kind and treat nature with kindness, especially. Don't be throwing no plastic bottles. We are a part of a green fin organization. Do not be throwing no bottles into the ocean. Come on. Just take care of this world while we still have it, because it's already perishing to ashes and we're doing nothing about
Oh,
it.
yes.
Take a step. Know that you have a voice and know that your voice can be heard. We have all these accessible platforms. So do something. Do something. Be kind. Go diving. Enjoy your life.
Look at that man in the mirror and start with him first, huh?
Yes, definitely.
Well, Luke, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your experience
Yes.
with us today.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. You guys have been amazing. Running into you guys on the island was a complete blessing. It's been so nice getting to know
Same
you
here,
guys.
same
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah.
same here.
Surrounding myself around those people is very important.
To let you guys know, right, during the journey of Luke in attaining his open water course, I actually was part of it.
Yeah, that was.
So I was there the whole 4 days filming him doing his open water course. So if you guys would like to see his journey in becoming a certified open water diver, you can check out my Instagram. There are 4 reels, I believe, right, Luke, in regards to his open water course. So you can go and check it out. Promise you that it's quite interesting. And Luke gave his perspective
Yeah.
on site
Yeah.
during every single
Every
day.
single day, yeah. And it was
during the course.
It was a bit. A funny story because right before we end, it's just a little bit of a funny bit. So we went down there on like my first open water dive, and Adam brought the camera down, and I was so intrigued. I told you that while my instructor was working on with my course mates on neutral buoyancy, I was already doing the pose, right? So my instructor was like, whatever, right? You're already good. So Adam was filming a couple of clownfishes, right? So I look back and I'm like, oh, since I'm not a part of this right now, let me see what Adam is doing. So I just start floating above him, right? And he has no idea that I'm above him, right? And he taps me and he's like, what the hell? He's like, yo, go back to your instructor. I'm like, oh shit, sorry.
Playful, huh?
It's quite a character.
I was not surprised because you were there. I was surprised because you left your class and came to
Yeah,
me.
no. I feel.
Your instructor is going to freak out, man. He's going to scold you, bro.
See, coming from somebody who didn't know nothing about diving, I figured that wasn't a heavy thing. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna see what Adam's doing, dude. He's just right there. You can see me. I'm fine. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would imagine how from an instructor's stance that would be fucking terrifying, dude. Like all of a sudden you look back and one of your students not there. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, I hope to be able to see you on the island
Yeah,
again.
definitely.
And definitely we're going to dive together
Yes.
now that you are certified open
We need
water.
to.
And hopefully we'll take more footages of you
Yeah.
being underwater.
We need to do a night dive together, Adam.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But you need to get your advance first, alright?
Oh yeah.
Then we'll go for a night
Yeah,
dive.
definitely.
That's all from us today. Thank you so much to Luke for coming. And Dicky, your closing statement?
Well, yeah, again, thank you, Luke,
It's been a pleasure.
for the time
It's been a
and, sharing all those experience.
Yes.
We hope this episode is going to be, appealing to the viewers and
Yeah.
listeners out there. Before we end, me, Adam, and a few more of our divers organizing a trip. So we're going out to Bali for the Mola Mola season, Manta Mola Mola season in August. So the date is from the 9th to the 16th. Yeah, so if you need more details, more info, and if you are interested in joining us, to give us a shout out, messages or whatever, just come and contact us and we'll share you with the details. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.
I hope you guys enjoyed our podcast and our content so far. We have a lot more topics that you can find in our episode list. So please do go and check it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment as usual. And we'll see you guys in our next episode. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
And goodbye.
Yeah.